My wife, 30, and I had been together for 10 years, ever since our college days. We were one of those couples who finished each other's sentences and made others gag with envy. We both graduated and got right out into the job field and were kind of crushed by reality. Neither of us ended up being able to work in our dream fields, and we were constantly trying to find ways to be happy outside of work. After the pandemic, things only got harder for us. But thankfully, we made it through a dark time, and we came out stronger in the end. I landed a good job at a new tech startup, and things started to change for us. Now here's the thing. My wife had always been secretly dreaming of becoming an actress, so I surprised her with acting classes, thinking it would be a cool way for her to dip her toes in the world of acting. Little did I know that this seemingly harmless decision would unleash a whirlwind of drama in our lives. At first, everything seemed pretty normal. She was all in, attending those classes, staying up late to rehearse scenes, and fully embracing her newfound passion. I was genuinely excited for her, watching her realize one of her dreams. After a few months of classes, things took a turn. The classes usually started in the evening. I'd gotten used to her coming home around 10 or 11, but as time went on, she was coming back later and later. She started to distance herself from me emotionally and physically. I noticed she was tilting her phone away from me when she'd look at it, and she'd walk out of the room to take phone calls. All of those are telltale signs of cheating. If something was going on, I wanted to know. I worked up the courage one day to finally sit down and ask her what was going on. I explained all of my concerns and told her that if there was something going on, she should tell me so we could find a way to work through it. But she just denied everything. She told me that she was just exhausted from working and taking the classes, and that I had nothing to worry about. For a few days after the conversation, I think she took it to heart, and she started to act like her old self. But that quickly went away, and the same issues we had resurfaced. I just had this nagging feeling that would not leave me alone, and that something was wrong. I couldn't ignore the signs she was displaying, so I thought that if she wasn't going to tell me, I would have to find out. I ended up hiring a private detective to follow her to one of her acting classes to see if they found anything. He kept me updated throughout the night while he was watching her, and for a while it seemed fine. He sent me a message telling me the acting class was over, but my wife was walking across the street to a bar with a man from the class. He kept an eye on them while they were there. Then after about 45 minutes, he told me they were leaving. They were holding hands and cuddling while they were walking down the street. He followed them to a townhouse, and they both went inside. He waited for a while, but the blinds were closed, so he couldn't really see anything that was going on inside. That was all the evidence I needed to try to do some digging on my own. I didn't want to invade her privacy, but now I pretty much knew that she was cheating on me, so I gave myself the go-ahead. I logged into her Facebook account. That was where she had her acting group chat, and where she did a majority of her messaging. I looked through all the members of her acting class chats, and searched through them all to try to find the man she was with. I found him pretty quickly, and when I looked through their messages, it confirmed all of my suspicions. They had been exchanging very flirty, explicit messages, and they had been planning dates together. From the context of the messages, they had slept together many times. I dismissed the PI and made a plan to end the marriage. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. I was heartbroken and completely distraught by the news. I even gave her an out for it. She had plenty of opportunities to tell me the truth and not lie about it. The more I thought about how badly she hurt me, the more I wanted to get even with her. It all started because of the acting class, so I wanted it all to end there too. I remembered she told me when she first joined the class, the instructor had her perform a monologue on her first day. So I prepared one. I signed up for the class, shelling out the money for a trial of it, and practiced what I was going to say. I made sure to arrive later than everyone else, and sit in the very back of the auditorium while everybody else mingled ahead of me. After a while, the instructor stood on the stage and called me up. Everybody turned to look at me, but I kept my eyes trained on my wife as I walked to the stage. The absolute confusion on her face was priceless. I introduced myself and waved at my wife while the spotlight was shining on me. Then I read my monologue. It wasn't exactly a monologue per se. It was just me reading some highlight quotes from the messages I found between her and the other guy. She stood up and tried to get me to walk off the stage, but I ignored her. I ended the scene by telling her that we would be getting a divorce and that I was no longer paying for her classes. As it turns out, the guy she was cheating on me with happened to be sleeping around with a couple of other girls in the class. There was a complete uproar when I explained what was going on. Everyone was yelling at him and calling him names. I walked out to let that play out on its own, but my wife chased after me. Even with all the evidence that I had just read to her, she tried to tell me that they were rehearsing for a play. She tried to tell me that the text messages were just acting. I was flabbergasted by her poor attempts at lying. Really, I thought the money I'd spent on those classes might have paid off a little bit more. I told her she had a week to get her things out of our house, and that she would be getting official papers from me soon. I stayed with a friend while she was moving out, but I did find out through the grapevine that the man she was cheating on me with was kicked out of the class because of all the chaos he'd caused. We're currently going through our divorce proceedings. It's definitely all panning out in my favor, though. The best part about this is that she can't afford acting classes on her own, so she's no longer able to pursue that dream. Now for the top comments. OP, I'm sorry you've had to go through all of that. She continued to lie to you about your concerns and made you feel invalidated about them. You were right to be suspicious, and you did the right thing by hiring a PI. The scene you performed in front of the class was a great idea to get back at her. It's not surprising that the man she was cheating on you with was also with other women in the class. I can't help but wonder if they tried to pursue anything after, or if she viewed it as him cheating on her too. It seems like karma for her to have been surprised by the news. I wish you the best of luck in the divorce, and I hope you're able to move on from her quickly. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed listening, please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, comment below on what you think. Take care.